Scott here. I'm on life support now. No reason, just felt like it. I've been told the machine I'm hooked up to is doing some pretty great stuff. It's efficient, it's useful, it's made by Mad Cats. I should probably start proofreading my will. Did you know hands can hold garbage and f***ing garbage? Game controllers are fairly understated in the grand scheme of things. I mean, as long as you can reach all the buttons at once, that shouldn't be an issue, right? They are ridiculously important to the gaming experience, but that importance comes at a price. As the years have gone on, official game controllers have risen in cost significantly. We go from the GameCube controller retailing for $19.99 to my scheduled laugh at the Switch Pro controller's price point. The prices of game controllers can be absolutely ridiculous, sometimes costing nearly as much as a new game, sometimes costing as much as a new game, more than a new game. $70, man, I found a mattress for that much. I will admit, stuff like the Nintendo Switch Pro controller and DualShock 4 have a lot of random junk thrown into them. This kind of explains why the prices are so much higher than controllers in the past. But then the Xbox One controller is pretty much identical to the Xbox 360 controller in terms of features, and it's $65. Did all the money go into giving the thumbsticks tire tracks? Controllers can be expensive, sure. You can probably make it by with just the one that came bundled with your console, but what if you want to play a local multiplayer game? What if your controller breaks for some reason? You're gonna need an extra controller, and the official ones, those can be pricey, but you always have other options. Give these away with car stereos. Third-party controllers. Controllers not made by the company who makes the console. You never know what you're gonna get with these things. Since they're made by a company that had nothing to do with the actual console, they don't have to abide by any rules, designs, or legal restrictions, nothing. Now, why would you get a third-party controller instead of a first-party one? Well, I can think of a few reasons, but most of the time, it's all about the price point. These bad boys would sometimes retail for considerably less than official controllers. You can use that money for new games and your mortgage. However, let's not throw all third-party controllers under the bus here, because I consider them to fall under two types: big deals or big gimmicks. Either the controller is cheaper and that's why you'd want it, or it features something the official controllers don't. Like the QuickShot controller for the NES. This isn't supposed to be a replacement controller, it's supposed to be an alternative. If you want to use a joystick with your games, whip out the coffee table, jam the stick with the suction cups, this thing ain't going anywhere. This works well for arcade-style games, or stuff like Top Gun. But in terms of a controller with no real advantages compared to the official controllers outside of price point, the Hanyu Explorer 1 for the NES, literally just another company's version of the NES Advantage. There isn't much reason for you to pick this up other than the fact that it's cheaper than the official Advantage controller. However, this thing has some interesting features. These top two buttons do absolutely nothing, and there's a useless battery compartment. I really have to start using this term better. In the grand scheme of third-party controllers, these ain't too bad. Third-party controllers were more so gimmicky back in the NES days, mainly because you needed like two standard NES controllers at the very most. So for people to want other controllers, they needed to stand out. They needed to have features the regular controllers didn't have. That called for pretty much any unofficial controller to have turbo buttons, like the Turbo Touch 360 for the Sega Genesis. This gives me chills. We have switches to give any of the buttons turbo fire, but the star of the show here is the lack of a D-pad. I'm sure tons of people who saw this in the store went, yes! You ever just use the Genesis controller and... there's too much D-pad here. Now this, no D-pad is exactly what I wanted out of a Sega Genesis controller. This is a touchpad, and it senses where your thumb is. Yeah, this doesn't work very well. You don't get the precision of an actual D-pad at all. I don't know if this is whacking out because of old age, but I couldn't imagine this ever working that well when it was new. But hey, if you want a more standard experience, here's the Sega Genesis Owl Pad. I'm sure somebody stood by this controller like you're waiting in the living room for your date to come downstairs and you're talking to her dad about how much you like the Sega Genesis controller. We're an Alpha family. What is up with the C button? I don't know how easy it is to see, but it is significantly stiffer than all the other buttons. The back is a soap dish. Now, if you're looking to buy retro gaming garb these days, you're likely to come across these off-brand controllers. They look pretty similar to the originals, but with a few things altered so Nintendo doesn't have a fucking aneurysm.